Guidance is internal. Ignition sequence starts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Permission to board. Permission to come aboard. Permission to board. Permission to bring me aboard. Permission to come aboard.
Welcome to the Permission Granted podcast. Here's DA.
All right, welcome inside the freshest edition of the Permission Granted podcast, everybody. The show within the show, coming up a little bit later on here in the PGP. Joltin' Joe DeLuisio is going to drop on by, and he and Mraz fight about being a real fan. We'll also discuss the oncoming 12 days of Christmas. So, there's a multitude of ways for you to get the PGP. As always, it's available on iTunes, just like our normal show podcasts. Every episode on iTunes of not only the show, but also the PGP. Also available on SoundCloud, so you can get the Permission Granted podcast there. We post them all on YouTube as well, youtube.com/TheDA Show, except last week that did not happen. There was a computer glitch last week, we shall just say. And it's also available on Facebook as well. The audio was there last week for the PGP, just the video portion of it was not. So, but that's on the Facebook as well, facebook.com/TheDA Show. Our guests today, this week on the PGP, are members of the brand new National Women's Hockey League, the NWHL. We had players and the commissioner stopping on by, and they've just begun play in the inaugural season of the NWHL. So very cool to have you guys all here. Everybody, welcome to CBS Sports Radio. How are you?
Good. Awesome. Good. Thanks for having us.
This is a big party here. I like this. We will start with the commish, Danny Ryland, and she's here in studio with us. Danny, have you run into major commissioner problems, trying to get the women to certain media events, getting the games on? There's a lot of commissioners out there that are not popular because of the problems with their league. I hope you haven't faced this yet.
We've had some problems, but I like to focus on the positive. And as far as the media is concerned, we have a great PR team that's working with us to get us on great shows like this. And so that part's handled. But I have a great team around me, and we work to put the fires out as quickly as we can.
So you haven't dealt with the players threatening to go on strike already yet?
Not yet.
Okay,
no.
Not yet.
We do have an NWHL PA, a Players Association,
okay.
So hopefully it'll go through there first before there's any strike proposed.
Now, do you have any previous commissionership experience? I know that you're not exactly old for the spot, right? You're still in your 20s, right?
I am. I'm 28.
Okay.
Believe it or not, this is my first commissioner job.
Believe it or not?
Yes.
No commissioner of like a fantasy football league?
No, that's never been my thing.
Okay, fantasy hockey league?
I was never the commissioner there, though.
Captain of anything?
I was a captain of my college hockey team.
This'll work.
Yeah.
Okay. What type of other leadership abilities did you use that you listed on your resume to get the job?
So since I hired myself, I actually didn't present myself with a resume. But
did you use LinkedIn to get this job or what?
Yes, I found myself on LinkedIn.
Which is interesting because you also brought up that one of the players we have in studio is the highest paid player in the league. You're already talking cash. That might come back to bite you,
Why is that?
Because then you have the players always talking about their salaries. We need a bigger piece of the pie. We're going on strike.
Oh, yeah.
These are big issues.
We have been extremely transparent. We put up all the players' salaries on our own Cap Pro.
Okay.
So we have a salary cap for each team, $270,000. So the average salary is $15,000.
Okay.
Lowest paid players, or the league minimum is $10,000,
okay.
stretching all the way up to $25,000.
Okay.
And I think that's what's really cool. Like, we are a professional league, and it may be an incentive for players to work harder next year's salary by putting them all out this year.
So who are you working with? Do you have kind of a staff under you, assistant commissioners or deputies or whatnot, to kind of get everything organized, scheduling, travel, budget, stuff like that?
Yeah, we have probably 10 people in staff in New York, and then each team has 3 to 5 people working for them. So we're running extremely lean, and everyone's wearing a lot of hats and getting the job done.
So there's no like birthday blowouts where you guys are just kind of like getting a lot of tequila or cakes in the studios and in the offices and just kind of writing it off?
Tequila and cake, not yet.
That's not how the NWHL rolls at this point?
No, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. No time for tequila.
Well, you pointed out that we have a special guest here because Kelly Stack is in studio with us, and this is what you mentioned, the highest paid player in the league.
Yes.
So Kelly joins us. Kelly, you weren't even supposed to come. This is awesome. What allowed you to grace us with your presence?
Well, I have practice tonight in Stamford, which is, right around the corner from here at 10 p.m. So I just figured I might as well stick around here and join you guys on the show.
I can't believe you're a tortured Cleveland Browns fan and have lived to tell about it.
Yeah, but, we're Clevelanders. We're proud of it, so.
Are you sure that you can say that with pride because the Browns have given you a lot of torture over the years?
Yeah, but hopefully with Johnny Manziel there, they'll turn things around soon. They let him play.
Yeah, I think he was just pulled over for getting into a spat with his girlfriend and having a few too many beers. Are you sure you want to...
2 beers, and his girlfriend needs to go.
Okay. All right. Why do you feel like that?
She likes to party too much.
Okay, do we know this for certain or what?
No, I follow her on Instagram, so, I kind of see what she does behind the scenes.
So is that a good way for you to gauge how not to put too much stuff on Instagram since now you're going to be high profile, highest paid player in the league?
Yeah, I have a few years on her, so I kind of know what to post and what not to,
Okay. All right. Very good. We also have Janine Weber of the New York Riveters and Brianne McLaughlin from the Buffalo Buttes who joins us in studio as well. Janine, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. You play for the Riveters, huh?
Yeah.
So this is a New York-based team. Mm-hmm. So how's it going so far?
Well, we lost our first 2 games, but I think we've grown a lot as a team, and we'll definitely get stronger the next few games.
All right, very cool. And Brianne, you are actually a U.S. Olympic goaltender. So many of you actually have Olympic experience as well. What's it been like to help found this bad boy, this league?
It's been pretty awesome. I was lucky enough to start a program at Robert Morris as well. And to start something, it always, even though you're 10 years out, whatever, you still feel a part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to doing that again. It's been a blast so far, just kind of spearheading this thing and running with it.
So how is travel going to go for you guys as players? Is it going to be, because these are fairly kind of closely located cities. Is it going to be buses? Is it going to be planes? Is it going to be... planes, trains, and automobiles? How's it going to look?
So far, it's just buses.
Yeah.
We're not too far, like you said, so we can just go up. If it's far, like for us, probably the farthest is Boston, so we'll probably go up the night before.
And can you drive yourself or everybody on the team bus and you put like videos up there so everybody can watch, 16 Candles or whatnot?
Yeah, we're going to go that route.
Okay, that's a good route.
Yeah.
I say videos
Team
like
bus.
DVDs, but I remember when I was in high school and we did the travel, it was VHS tapes. It was videos. So I don't know about you guys. You guys make sure you have the DVDs up?
I think some of these buses still may accept the VHS.
Okay, good.
But...
Good. Stop by a bankrupt Blockbuster and make sure you pick up your videos for the night.
Yes.
Okay, so this is awesome. So you guys have done the media tour. What's it been like to kind of hit a bunch of different stations and television networks? Do people kind of know what's going on? Or are they confused by what's going on? What have you hit as the commissioner?
It's actually been extremely exciting, the number of people who know about it. I was actually at a Rangers game last night, and one of the players on the Rangers, who I didn't even know who he was, he knew about the league.
Wow.
So that was the first sign, like, oh, wow, that's pretty neat.
Okay.
That we've made it that far. So, it's all about awareness this year, and this media tour is just another step on the way. Did you know about us before we came in here?
No, not until my producer, Sean, who had gotten in contact with you guys, had mentioned it, that then I started reading up about it and kind of looking at it, and I kind of got a good sense of it. But before that, I didn't even realize. So what was the origin of it for this thing to come together and for you to become the commissioner?
It started out as an idea, and it really just snowballed from there.
Was it your idea?
Yeah, and then I vetted it around my hockey network, and everyone was like, this is a no-brainer. You should run with this.
Really?
This is a great idea. And, after the 2014 Winter Olympics really would have been the best time to do it. The women's gold medal game was the most watched event on NBC with 4.9 million viewers, not even on prime time. And, 2015 is the next best time. This summer's been so hot for women's sports, the women's soccer team, Ronda Rousey, Serena Williams. And it's really just like the stars have aligned for the NWHL.
So you're also a GM, though, of one of the teams, the Riveters here in New York, and the commissioner. So You're really wearing 2 hats here. How do you split your time in the day? How often does your Google job tasks go off or your iPhone reminders go off?
I have a handful of tabs open at all times on the computer, a few different emails. And, it's definitely a lot of multitasking. And at the end of the day, it was, one less person to pay and one less person to manage, I guess. So it seemed like the right decision.
Okay, so you got the postseason coming up in March after the regular season ends. There's 4 teams in this league. Does everybody make the playoffs?
Everyone does make the playoffs.
Okay, and so you just seeded 1 through 4,
4.
kind of like the college football playoff. 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3.
Exactly. 2 rounds, best of 3.
Okay, all right. And then what's the trophy called?
The Isabel Cup.
The Isabel Cup. Give me the background on that.
So the story goes that Lord Stanley, his daughter. His name is Isabel, and one of the reasons that Lord Stanley loved hockey so much was because his daughter had such a passion for hockey. She was growing up playing on the ponds up in Quebec, and naturally seemed like a good fit.
Now, luckily, we won't have to deal with playoff beards for your league, because I always find that so disgusting. So I'm very happy that we have a league that doesn't have to deal with that.
Yes.
That's your answer.
One perk, yep.
That's a big perk, though. I think it's fairly gross.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to come up with another tradition.
I don't know if the ladies feel the same way about the playoff beards as the men do. I think, I don't know if I would say gross.
Okay, so you like
I like it.
Yeah, they're kind of attractive, actually.
Even when they get really scraggly, I mean, because...
I mean, I wouldn't go all James Harden on it, but
Okay.
maybe something a little more tamed.
Because... those beards, the playoffs could go for like 2.5, 3 months. If you're playing from April through June, that's a really gross beard. It's really long. You're sweating in it a lot. It's getting hotter.
Yeah, June's a tough month to have
a
full beard. But
it's a tough one, but you're okay with it.
The ladies appreciate it.
Okay, all right. So what can the tradition be for you guys in the playoffs?
I don't know.
I guess
Mullets.
Bangs, mullets.
Yeah.
You could not shave your legs, I suppose.
Boyfriends would love that.
Yeah, that's...
My husband would be pumped.
All right, so you guys are playing here, and for our listeners, where can they catch the league?
So the league, you can watch our live stream on nwhl.co.
Okay.
And if you have any New York fans listening, we are playing at Aviators Sports and Event Center in Brooklyn. Okay, very cool. Well, we're national, so we can, we reach everybody that's going on, especially in the Northeast. So in Boston, where are you guys playing in Boston? At the Harvard Bright Landry Center. Okay, and in Connecticut? In Connecticut at Chelsea Piers. And we are on 1270 in Buffalo, so where can they catch you there? They can catch us at the Harbor Center. Okay, very good. This is awesome. Well, girls, thanks so much for joining us. This is so cool. Once again, Danny Ryland is the commissioner, Janine Weber, Brianne McLaughlin, and Kelly Stack, all players in the league. Guys, thanks so much. This is great. Thanks, DA.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks to the ladies from the National Women's Professional Hockey League for joining us here on the PGP, the Permission Granted podcast. And Mraz joins me now. Mraz, I know you're going to be in front of the TV watching a lot of that league.
I'm pumped up for it, actually, to be honest. I'm a puckhead.
You are a buckhead.
A puckhead.
I know, a puckhead.
Oh, I thought you just said a buckhead.
I might have pronounced it buckhead, but I meant puckhead.
I am a puckhead. I love my puck.
It's so early. It's November. It's pre-Thanksgiving. I got a real tough time. This weekend on Friday, the Cavs are in town. LeBron is in town to play the Knicks.
The who versus the who?
That's right. And I'm like, I should really get over there to watch LeBron in person.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'll be in for Gottlieb on Friday, so I would have that night off. But I'm still like, gosh, I just can't quite get myself into it. It's still so football.
I think a lot of things didn't help this. Number one, for your sake, the Mets run because we live in New York, captivated and pushed the baseball season a lot longer than we're used to the last couple of years.
Right.
And thus, the football season, while it was going on and while we were into it on Sundays and Saturdays, it wasn't fully engulfed, at least up here, where now it really feels like the football season's just going. So when you look at basketball and hockey, at least from our perspective, it's like, I don't understand. Football just started. Why are we doing this?
Well, it's also like when I see NBA records, our teams are 3-2 or 4-1. That feels to me like watching the opening possessions of an NBA game, of which I don't know if you ever have watched a basketball game from start to finish.
Of course, yeah.
But when the teams are in single digits, it feels like you're not really watching the game. You're like, this is so depressing that I'm watching a game that will end in the 100s, and it's 8-6 right now.
Right, and fans are going nuts for every basket. Like, it really matters in the long run.
So that's where I feel we are in the NBA season and the NHL season. I just feel like we're still in the single digits of the first minutes of the first preseason game.
In my mind, I feel like hockey really, and I'm into the hockey, less into the basketball because my team stinks. I'm into the hockey when the first national NBC game comes on, which happens to be the Friday after Thanksgiving. It actually happens to be the Rangers this year.
Yeah, Black Friday.
Right, Black Friday. That's when NBC actually brought, not NBC Sports, and for the flip side, the basketball, when ABC gets involved on Christmas Day and does the NBA, that's when it feels like to me when the network TV partners really step up. And if they're going to broadcast the game, then I feel like a fan, okay, the season has started.
So Christmas NBA jerseys, I think, are going to be nice. I like this.
That font they have, yeah.
Yeah, the holiday font, I think, looks really cool. I think they actually nailed it. What I don't like is this Thursday night football garbage. The color rush?
Color rush, yes.
And so every team that's going to play on Thursday night from here on out is going to wear solid colors?
Well, it's 4 games this year, and then every Thursday night next year. However, I'm pretty sure, because if the Cowboys are one of them this year, and the Cowboys are essentially wearing their Thanksgiving jerseys on that other Thursday night they play, I think the way to get out of the color rush is you wear a throwback. But it has to be league approved as a throwback.
This color rush is so bad.
It's ugly. And by the way, the Bills are all of a sudden they're a red. I've always known the Bills as blue. So why are they red in this situation?
So they're taking the alternate jerseys, in that case, the alternate color, and they're doing red tops, red pants, red everything. Besides the helmet, the Jets are doing green on top of green, which is going to look stupid.
It's going to look like the Salvation Army Santas versus the Grinches.
Yeah. Oh, God, can the NFL botch this anymore?
It doesn't make any sense. It's just
it's to draw attention, I guess, to these Thursday night games.
Well, and you know where the NFL's backtracking here? If you remember last year, we did a story on the show on how there's going to be less throwbacks because the teams are not allowed to switch the helmets they wear anymore.
Right,
remember,
because
concussions or whatever. But if you look at the helmets the Bills are wearing, those are not the same the same white helmets, right? They're red now.
No.
Are you sure? I thought I saw a red helmet.
No, I'm almost positive it's white helmet, red top, red pants.
Okay, well then never mind on my point here. I was going to say, how could they backtrack on that?
I would love that because that's the problem with the throwbacks now, that you can't change the color of your helmet because of concussion protocol.
Right, so the Steelers wear the bumblebees, but they just take off the decal on their same helmet. It looks stupid. Same thing with the Packers.
Yeah. No, I don't think they can change the color of the helmet, which is pretty remarkable because look at what college football does. The Oregon Ducks must be the most unsafe program of all time because they change helmets every single week.
And now everybody's just Oregon. If you watch a college game, you don't know who anybody is week to week anymore. Oklahoma State's worn 5 different uniforms this year.
Color rush. We
got to get all in on color rush.
Oh God, the NFL just blows sometimes. No, they're gonna do the white helmet.
Okay, all right. So I misspoke there.
12 Days of Christmas is right around the corner.
Oh
here.
Yeah.
And the other night we had a very strong candidate in Ramblin' Roger, all about his Brett Favre rookie cards. This is going to be the first year ever that Jolton Joe D'Aloisio and James Ward are part of the 12 DAs. They don't know what's coming.
I'm going to talk to Joe about this in Side B. I think the most interesting part about this is that for the 2 years that we did the 12 DAs, it was always myself, you, Peter Schwartz, and Kenny, and we were the only 4 that ever really heard them. Mm-hmm. Now, Jolton Joe is in 3 days a week, James is in 2. And on top of that, Jolton Joe wasn't even with us at the beginning of the year. It was Steve Moralia.
True.
So there's a lot of these 12 DAs that either James or Joe will be in studio for that maybe weren't there when it happened, possibly aren't even aware of exactly what happened with the 12 DAs.
That's a good point.
So it's actually really interesting. We'll have, me and you will have heard them all, but there literally is going to be something like that comes up where we're going to get a firsthand look of an expression, not from a listener, but from somebody on the show who's never even heard it.
Would you say this year is our most streamlined 12 DAs yet? Because this is year 3 that we've been doing it and we kind of know what to expect?
Yeah, I would say this is the most organized I've been ahead of the 12 DAs, as it's my job when something comes up to save. The first year we did it, we actually came up with the idea in November, so I had to go back.
I had done it in Boston.
Okay.
But I think I did not know whether I was going to transition it to the overnights on CBS Sports Radio.
Right.
And then in November was you know what, we should do this.
Right. And so therefore it was a wild goose chase for me and Kenny to go back and try to find dates. And then once we got to the 4 hours of the dates, have to dig up old loggers with audio, find the exact half hour these moments occurred. And that was really challenging. Year 2, it was a little easier where we kind of had an idea based on Epic Fit. Maybe we could do this. This year, I was way ahead of the game. Anything that sounded close, I was clipping and saving, and I had the date, and I saved it as a whole clip, the whole thing. So I'm good to go. I have them list. I have them saved exactly what they are. I'll print out a list, give it to you, give it to Joe, give it to James. We could discuss, and boom, I'll have the audio ready to go.
So, Mirage, you've learned how to work smarter.
Yeah, I'm not smart still in general as a human.
Right.
but there are certain things I've adapted to. It's like a deer, you know? A deer goes up to a lake like my cousin Vinny. It sips the water, sips the water, sips the water.
Yeah.
If a deer sees another deer get shot at that lake, it's going to find a different lake to sip the water, right? It gets used to it after a while. Well, this lake, I'm going to get shot in the head. I'm not going to go back. I've gotten used to producing and doing certain things. I'm not going to get shot in the head late in November. I'm going to get ahead of the game.
Yeah, I like that attitude. You found out how to work smarter, not harder. Certainly not harder.
Oh, no. Any shortcut I could take, I'm taking.
But working smarter, okay, we'll take that. I'm excited about the 12 DAs because we now have a whole new audience that has never heard the 12 DAs. And I'm very proud of this as a regular segment on the show because if it rewards loyal listeners because they can always go, oh, I remember hearing that live. Oh, I heard that.
I remember where I was when I heard this.
Exactly. And so since this is the end of year 3 on the network for us, but the first full year doing the evening show instead of the overnights, I would say that we probably had a turnover of about 75% of our audience. I think there's probably 25% that came with us from overnights.
I think it's fair.
But 75% are listening to the show for the first time this year. So they get to finally, for the first time, count down these great moments that we have.
I think that's awesome. And we're also on in a lot of markets that, let's face it, where there are games going on at certain times where maybe there was a night they carried a baseball game over the summer where something funny happened where that market didn't hear this moment. And they're going to go, how could I have missed this or whatever? And then might influence you a little bit to download one of our apps there to make sure you don't miss any of these moments in the next year.
That's a great point. So you've got Jolt and Joe coming up here.
Yep.
And, I think Joe is growing into his own.
Yeah, I think Joe...
He's a young buck.
He's a young buck, but Joe, I would say, has the highest ceiling of a producer here that I've seen walk through the doors in 3 years.
Whoa.
I do. I wouldn't tell him this to his face. He might hear it relearning. The kid's got skills. He really does, and he works hard. I envy his attitude on working hard.
Are you serious?
I do. I really do.
Well, because he works hard and you don't?
Not that listen, I get a bad rap for not working hard. I do work hard. He just... I don't want to say he works harder. He's more of a go-getter than I am. Like, I'll give up rather easily if I get frustrated. Like, if something frustrates me, that's it. I'm backing off. He'll just keep pushing at it.
What do you think Jolt and Joe's potential is? Do you think he could run the network one day?
Yeah, I think Jolt and Joe, when we're talking about Jolt and Joe at 23, I think Jolt and Joe at 53, 30 years down the line, is running, whether it's a network, a radio station, something. He's the man in charge somewhere.
Really?
I do. I really do. Maybe that's not his angle. Maybe he wants to be on air, but he seems like management quality, finger on the pulse, which is why I better be nice to Joe, because if I'm looking for a job when I'm 53, I might need one.
There's no doubt. This is the key to this industry. Always be nice to the people on the way up, because they'll be the same people you see on the way down when you're on the way down.
Right.
And so I've always tried to treat every intern we've ever had with some respect, even if I didn't know their name. At least don't crap on them, because you never know when they're going to come back and they'll have a decision to be made.
Right. And that's your wallet they got to take care of too.
Yeah. So, okay, Jolt and Joe getting a lot of props around here.
He does. But again, this might blow up his head. 2017's a big year. Oh, no. What are we going into?
2016.
Boy, I better not rush things. 2016's a big year for him.
Big year. So you think that he has higher CBS ceiling than Moralia?
Is that a real question? We love Steve-O, but come on. Much higher ceiling, yes.
Okay. Higher ceiling than Berman?
Yes. Yes.
Higher ceiling than Klug?
Yeah. Yes.
Higher ceiling than Brock?
Yeah. Yeah, because Brock was too easily frustrated, yes. Yes, his ceiling's high, man.
Higher ceiling than Schwartz?
I mean, can I no comment this? Any other names you want to rattle off?
Okay, that's all off the top of my head right now.
Okay, good.
All right, that'll wrap up this portion of the Permission Granted podcast. Once again, we remind you to subscribe to us on iTunes, also on SoundCloud. We post them on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Side B, now.
All right, welcome into Side B of the Permission Granted podcast. I am the executive producer of the DA show, Sean Mraz, with all dramatic effects joined by the associate producer, one of the associate producers, the man in the tight pink shirt, Joe DeLuisio. Joe, how are you?
Mraz, I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing very well here as we pluck along. We're almost at Thanksgiving, man.
It's unbelievable. Get that turkey ready.
I can't wait. My favorite holiday. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to talk about this as the week's approach here to Thanksgiving.
Do you carve the turkey?
No, I don't.
Because you don't know how to, or
it's not that I don't
just eat it?
No, I have carved turkeys before, like not on Thanksgiving, but I don't. One day.
So you usually have turkey throughout the year, other than Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I make a turkey breast here and there. Sure.
Interesting.
I made a turkey breast a couple weeks ago. Remember I told you? Lighting all the candles, having a big fall day.
Oh, big fall day, fall festivities.
I made a turkey breast. I like a good turkey breast.
Hey, nothing wrong with a good turkey breast.
Juicy and delicate. Ooh, yeah. But yeah, we'll get into our Thanksgiving stuff, but I just thought that was crazy. We pointed out. And with Thanksgiving comes football and football fandom and all that. And it's something I want to talk to you about, Joe. And something we get to do here on the Permission Granted podcast, which I always enjoy, is kind of take you behind the scenes into the chatter we would have in the newsroom, so to speak, right? We enjoy some newsroom talk.
Of course.
One thing that came up in the newsroom on Monday following your beloved Packers loss to the Panthers was because it was a 1 o'clock start and because you work at CBS Sports Radio as the evening weekend producer from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., is that correct?
6 p.m. to 2 a.m.
6 p.m. to 2 a.m., that you have to, when the Packers play at 1 or during any game at 1, have to drive in while your team plays and listen to the game on the radio, correct?
Correct.
Now, Joe, I pointed this out in the newsroom, so I'm going to bring it right here on mic, and you'll have a chance to argue this. I believe, despite your trip to Green Bay, despite your road trip, that this makes you a fraud fan. Fraud fan. If your team is playing under all circumstances, you cannot miss a snap. And it's one thing if you're working like the primetime game and you're here, I understand, and you have to watch it like on mute. You got to come in early, man. I don't care what time you're here to make sure you're not driving during there.
I'm going to be honest with you, Mraz. I do not want to be here for 12, 13 hours.
Tough.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. But I do not want to have to leave my house at 11 a.m. to get here for the game and then stay here till 2 a.m. Monday morning where I won't even get home till 3 a.m. So what I do is I watch the first half and then I will listen to the game on the radio while I'm driving in. Once I'm in, it's usually around the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. I watch the game then. I need to be in at that time, though, to prepare. I can't just wait till the game's over. Then I'll never make it in time to come to work and do my job.
Joe, I think you got to bite the bullet. Listen, as a part-timer working at WFAN in New York, I worked a lot of weekend shifts like you're working, specifically a lot of holiday shifts. And there were frequent Sundays where I was doing a 6 to midnight or a 4 to midnight, something like that, and the Giants were 1 o'clock games. And guess what? I wasn't watching the first half at home and hopping in the car, listening to the car. I got here like a true fan. And a lot of people kill me for this because they think I'm the one who makes all the rules for fandom around here. I call people fraud fans around this newsroom all the time.
Yeah, and I don't know who you think you are by making a list of rules.
Because you got to watch your team.
And I do watch my team. And listen, I don't watch from beginning to end on Sunday because I have to be here.
So get here early.
No, I'm not going to get here early. What I do
up.
Instead is on Wednesday when I'm off, I'm watching the entire game.
Oh, yeah, 3 days later.
From
Good
the
job.
beginning to the end. I already know what happened. I'm still rewatching the game.
I rewatch the games anyway, and I still know what happened.
You're off on Sundays.
But even if I wasn't, like I just told you, when I wasn't off, I watched the games. And you know who's another fraud?
You were a part-timer. You didn't have as much responsibilities.
Okay, so get
when
here
you were
early.
a part-timer.
Or take care of it on Saturday. Give yourself enough time.
It's impossible. I can't cut post-game for Sunday football on Saturday.
Listen,
it makes no sense.
Listen, obviously, nobody wants to be here on a football Sunday. I understand. It's not ideal, but radio doesn't stop. It's a 24/7 industry. You would much rather be Monday through Friday working, the shift I'm working. I get it. But, Joe, the Packers are playing at 1 o'clock. You're going to get in the RV with the family and go to Lambeau. How hard is it to drive down from Westchester here, be here at 1 o'clock? Lock yourself in the studio, be it away. It'd be like you're not at work anyway.
No,
Order
I'll be
yourself
at
some
work.
Food.
I'll be at work.
Well, no, you don't know. See, that's the problem. You don't know how to disconnect yourself from work. You could be at work without being at work.
When I'm here, I'm all business, unlike you.
No, you don't have to be, Joe. On Sundays especially, there's no bosses here. There's no extra production guys taking all these production studios like one we're taping in now. You could easily shut the lights, lock yourself in one of these studios. There's 2 TVs here. You put the Red Zone on one, the Packers on the other. We have DirecTV. We have the Sunday Ticket. And you watch it. Nobody even knows you're here. And then guess what? 4 o'clock happens. You open up the door. You're already at work. Your commute's over. And it was like you weren't here. You're a fraud if you don't do that, Joe.
I'm not a fraud.
You
I have
are a
too
fraud.
much going on. If I'm here, I'm still going to be distracted by the other employees who are going to see that
The
I'm
other
here.
employees.
My coworkers.
Go through the back then. Don't even walk through that newsroom. Go through the back and come sit right where we are right now. Go ahead. Yeah, take a deep breath. Go ahead.
You're really peeing me off.
Oh, Joe's getting a little ticked. I'm just listen. I don't want to see you come Super Bowl Sunday waving the Packer flag if you couldn't come in here early and watch the Packers Panthers.
I still want to know who you think you are that you could dictate these rules. Well,
I am a dictator.
Okay.
And I make rules of a kingdom. So, yeah, I now control the fan kingdom. And you know what?
You control the fan kingdom.
Yeah, but there's certain rules to live by as an NFL fan, and I'm issuing them right now.
Just NFL.
Yeah, because it's once a week. You can miss baseball, hockey, basketball games once a week. Or if you're a diehard college football fan, if you got your diehard college team, don't miss the games. Now, wedding, funeral, I understand. You get on the people having the wedding.
You have no sense of... You
Yes,
live
I
in
do.
a fantasy world.
No, I don't. No. You live in a fantasy world.
How do I live in a fantasy world? If
I'm telling you, I lived it. I know what you went through, and it stunk.
I'm sorry. You
Spent
wanna-
14
you wanna
hours here
call
Christmas
me a
Eve
fraud,
once.
You want to say whatever you want, but if I have a close family member that's getting married, I'm going to the wedding, and I'm not going to blame them. Like, I don't know what is wrong with you.
Well, I go to the wedding, but I am going to blame them. Don't get married on football Sunday. It's ridiculous. It's rude. It's inconsiderate. You have a million. First of all, you have Fridays and Saturdays you can get married. Unless you're in a college football heavy town, then Saturday's a little rough during football season. Number two, you have all the dates in March, April, May. But why do you have to get married in the fall? And if your wife wants a fall wedding, make it on a Friday, Saturday. If you make it on a Sunday in the fall, you might as well spit in all your guests' face.
What if that's the only date available?
No, bull. We know. Joe, I've been married now. I went to these places. They play me. They got plenty of
married. You've not been married. You are married.
Yes, they got plenty of dates available, bro. Plenty.
You're a disgrace. Honestly.
I'm not a disgrace.
You're a disgrace.
I'm making and I was, again, this is the third time I'm going to try to get this. Jay Berman also a fraud because we find out with these 4 o'clock games, he claims to be a diehard Giant fan. He has to work. His shift ends at 5:30. He's here first half of the Tampa Bay Giant game on Sunday. He heads out the door and has to take a half an hour or so getting home, and he gets home for the fourth quarter. Missed the whole third quarter of Giants-Bucks.
I can't blame
Disgrace.
Jay. I can't blame Jay.
Stay here till the end.
You don't want to be here. You just don't want to be here. You can't watch it the same way you'd watch it at home.
Of course you can't, but you can lock yourself in a studio and act like you're not here. That's Joe. You don't know how to disconnect, man. You have great work ethic. You can't disconnect.
Like I said, when I'm here, I'm about business and getting my job done and doing what I have to do. That's what it is.
Listen, that's fine, but you have to understand that you can be about business when you're on the clock. You're not on the clock from 1 to 4. Right or wrong?
You're right. I'm not on the clock from 1
Thank you,
to 4.
Joe. I think you're a hard worker. I think you're passionate. I think you have a bright future in the business, probably a brighter future in the business than I have. You're eventually going to be hosting the Side B, and I'll be the sidekick on it. But that being said, just come on, man. Take a deep breath.
I'm not getting here early for the game.
All right.
I'm not.
Then you're going to have...
And you could call me a fraud all you want. I refuse to come early for the game. If I want to go out Saturday night and have a good time, then I got to worry about leaving my house at 10 a.m. when I just walked in the door at 6 a.m.
Well, that's part of what comes to the territory then.
I'm trying to also live my life a little bit here. I'm locked up in here on the weekends.
Well, then maybe radio's not for you. Go bag some groceries at Stop and Shop.
Go bag some groceries. So I've
That's the only alternate.
That's the only alternate. Going from radio, from being an associate producer during the week, executive producer on the weekends, then I need to go bagging groceries.
Well, I can see you getting hot and bothered, so we're going to move topics now. Joe, we have coming up here your first experience on the DA show with what we like to call the 12 DAs of Christmas. It will also be James Ward, the other associate producer of the DA show's first experience. And for those who've been listening to the show for a couple years now, you know what these are, and if you are a new listener with the new time slot, you don't. It's something we like to have a lot of fun with around the holidays, starting after Thanksgiving. And essentially, the 12 DAs of Christmas are we look back at the 12 funniest / best / strangest moments that happen on the DA show throughout the calendar year. Now, Joe, you're in a weird position, too, because you jumped in halfway through the year because Steve Morale was there early in the year. And unlike times past, where for the most part it was Kenny Brock on the Wheels of Steel and myself, me and Kenny combined, Kenny and I, heard every single moment that happened through the year. There are going to be moments in this collage that you may not have been here for, whether James was for or Steve was here. There's going to be moments James has been here all year where he wasn't in for, whether you or Steve was in. So it's kind of cool. We'll get to see a look on your guys' faces when you hear something maybe for the first time. But I'm really pumped up about it. Last night, or I should say Monday night on the show, because we're taping this here on Tuesday, we had Rambling Roger on, and he has to be a late candidate.
Oh, 100%. He's got to be included.
Got to be included. But other than that, Joe, I wanted to pick your brain. I mean, Roger was unbelievable. Is there a moment that sticks out for you since you joined the DA show that you think should be a candidate on the 12 DAs?
I'll tell you what, the only thing that I really experienced in that half-year short period of time was that wienership. And I think between Jacob Wilkins' play-by-play and Badlands Booker up-chucking, I mean, that's got to make it. The explosion.
You know, spoiler alert, the past 12 DAs of Christmas, the wienership was on it both times because it's a signature. It's become a signature part of the DA show. This year's was a little different because we did it as a team. DA competed, and Jacob Wilkins was on the play-by-play, not DA, which made it even funnier. So I would say it's a strong candidate. The explosion has to be on there, something I forgot about.
Another thing now, and I didn't experience it.
Okay.
And I wasn't on the show, but Drunk Jen's got to be there.
Right. Now, here's the problem with Drunk Jen. Drunk Jen, I could tell you, I will release this. DA doesn't even know the candidate yet because I have clipped them as the year's gone on, unless one has happened on a rare day that I was out, which I don't believe so. I have a folder. I have basically like a safe with these sound bites in them.
Organized, huh?
Right. And we're going to release these sound bites to you, James, DA, myself, and like me, Kenny, DA, and even Schwartz did. We took a little vote on where we think these should be ranked, what falls out, almost like the NCAA tournament or the college
bracket.
The college football playoff committee. You know, bubble teams, everything out, first team in, we'll release the 4. Drunk Jen is her initial call, which was crazy and loopy, and I have to really go back and listen to it, is a candidate. It's saved. Where Drunk Jen hurts herself is she calls so frequently and is the same person so frequently that it almost doesn't it water down the product a little bit?
A little bit. But when you go back to the original Drunk Jen, I think it warrants a spot in the 12 DAs.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. And we might include this on Facebook, too, where you guys can vote on, or at least if we whittle it down to the 12, where you guys think these should be voted on.
And now
Facebook.com/The DA Show.
Before I started working on the DA Show, I was a frequent listener as well. And I do remember listening to the sex therapist.
Oh, man. When she asked Ryan Aselta if he was inadequate as a man, that might have been my favorite moment of the year on the DA Show.
I was crying during that entire interview. I could only imagine if I was here what my reaction would have been.
It was unbelievable, Joe. Yes, that was the sex therapist that was in studio right around Valentine's Day. So, yeah, we have a whole year of great moments, funny clips, and really, I mean, it's unbelievable. As we mentioned at the beginning of the Side B, 2 weeks till Thanksgiving, which means right after then we get ramped up here with the 12 DAs. So that's coming. That, the shopping, the holidays, the family, all that. The best part of Christmas might be the 12 DAs of Christmas, and that's coming.
100%. And like you said, we had Roger last night who maybe made a late push.
For number 1.
Still time for other listeners to call in.
Right.
855-212-4CBS.
That's a good plug, Joe. And that's going to wrap it up for the Permission Granted podcast this week. So we learned Joe is a fraud fan. We learned the 12 DAs are coming. I think this was a productive Side B, Joe. How about you?
Absolutely. Love doing it.
All right. Follow me on Twitter at MrazCBS. And by the way, tweet at me at MrazCBS if you have an idea for what your favorite 12 DA was, and I could take that into consideration as I am the czar of the audio clips.
And if you don't want to deal with Mraz on Twitter, you could always tweet me a candidate at Joe D. CBS.
So Joe looking for a little cheap Twitter plug. Well, that's great. Thank you. And in all seriousness, tweet at us because we really need the followers. Enjoy your...
Me more than Mraz.
Yes. Enjoy the week, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, and take care.